All right. Okay. Hello, everybody. I just want to give a quick shout out to the students that are here, because I remember what it was like being a student. Nobody's head is trying to internalize somebody's presentation. No, you're just trying to make it, just trying to finish the year. So I thank you for coming. So yeah, my presentation is professional success, what school can't teach you. But just some information on myself. My name is Devin Cohen, born and raised in the Bronx, New York. And I went to the Bronx High School of Science. And then I followed with going to here, obviously, and then Loma Linda University for my postgraduate education in pharmacy. Now, as a student, I was the person that was doing everything. So I studied biochemistry. The chemistry department is still my favorite department. Still my favorite major. Yeah, do cheers for that. I sang in Voices of Triumph and was a tenor section leader. And I also served with Cherie doing biochemistry lab. So I was the one grading papers. I was the one putting together the lab exams. I did research under Dr. Lahing, Dr. Rim, and Dr. Volkov. I did research in Cincinnati for a summer at Cincinnati Children's. I also was a pharmacy club president. And then when I finally released myself from all those duties in 2016. So now, what am I doing now? I am married, been 5 years, and we're expecting our first child. Super exciting. It's a boy. I'm super excited. Don't I look excited in this picture? This is Martha. Some of you it might be before some of your time, but some people will know Martha. Anyway, shameless plug on something else I'm doing. I do run a podcast on relationships. We're talking about relationships from the lens of scripture and common sense. So what I want you to do, I want you to close the doors. Nobody leave. Take out your phones. Scan this lovely QR code here. This is our YouTube channel. We are trying to get to and beyond 1,000 subscribers. As I said, we talk about relationships, but we're ditching the gender wars. Too many people are fighting men versus women, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to the next level of actually learning about each other. That's what the goal is. On all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find a podcast, you'll find us. And we actually have the videos of all of our episodes on YouTube, so it's fun. It's a fun watch. Anyway, my professional journey, as was said earlier, I graduated from Loma Linda University in 2020. I attended for pharmacy and finished it. Then I went to community pharmacy practice residency from 20 to 2021. And then ever since then, I've been working with independent pharmacies. So the cool thing about independent pharmacy is that you get to do a lot of cool stuff, because usually independent pharmacies are trying to be more mobile, trying to stay on top of their niche, right? So I was administering antipsychotics in California. I helped launch immunization programs. I did launch compounding programs. So you guys might know semaglutide, tirzepatide. And there also are an array of other wellness compounds that have helped pharmacies kind of start. And I've been a pharmacy manager, basically done a whole lot of different things, right? So I've kind of been on a path of my own professional development. So that's kind of where all of this information I'm sharing is stuff that is not just something I pull out of a book. It's something I've experienced, tried, and shown to be successful in my own journey. Anyway, so as with every presentation, something like this, you see professional success, you're going to expect some kind of cliches that, people are going to say. I'm going to come out the gate and just kind of go through them. So the first thing that they like to do is, what is professional success? Oh, profession, something that you've paid to do, that you say you can do, and you're doing formally, you've gotten trained to do it, that's your profession. What is success? An accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. So I just wanted to get these boring definitions out the way, the stuff that we've all heard, everybody said it, right? But professional success, to determine what is success, you gotta know where you're going, blah, blah, blah. What's your target field? What's your end goal? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to have impact? Do you want to bring some new innovation? That's kind of what we're talking about, right? About professional success. Some people are seeking stability. So they might have, oh, you're doing a profession that you're doing now because somebody said, oh, you'll make a lot of money. This is what you need to do, right? So there's different measures of success. So now, next cliche. How many people have heard this? Your network is your net worth. How many people have heard that before? Yeah? That's the thing that everybody says. And it is 100% true. The people you're connected with will get you to where you're going, especially when you're not sure where you're trying to end up. Some people can guide you along the way. Now, this job market right now is tough. It's tough. You need to know somebody in a role that you're trying to get most of the time. And just like some of the best jobs I've had were just from a connection that I had and not from going through Indeed or LinkedIn. Some of the worst jobs I've had were jobs that I got through Indeed and LinkedIn. So it kind of is like it's push and pull to trying to find a job. It's even harder now because everybody's applying. So now they're not even looking at your application. They're filtering it through what's called an application tracking system. So they're just using AI to crunch the words, crunch the keywords. And if you don't have the keywords that they're looking for, you're getting an auto rejection. I got a rejection from an application I put in 15 minutes after I submitted it. That's how fast it is. Like they're not even looking at it. And sometimes you won't even hear from them, right? So a referral is always the best way to get a job. Anyway, cliche number 3, you're the average of the people you hang around with, right? Similar to the network equals net worth, conversation, the people you're around will kind of inform your mindset, inform where you're going. And then when your network is bigger, you might have more opportunities. And then the people around you will kind of shape your behaviors, as it were, show me who your friends are. I'll show you who you are. All of that. All of this is true, right? And you do want to pick friends that will align with the path you're trying to take, right? But all of this that I just said, all of it is just level 1. So it's all true. We know this, but nothing is new or fresh about this. There's nothing. We've all heard this. We've all heard stuff, right? It only gets us started because there's so much more to what being successful in your profession actually looks like. So what's level 2? That's what we're going to be talking about today. What is the next level of reaching professional success? So we're going to hit a few goals. We're going to break a few chains, some of the things that prevent us from actually, being successful. We're also going to reach equilibrium, and I'll explain that a little bit later. There is some give and take when it comes to building your professional journey. And then we're going to, at the end, unlock a superpower. So, number 1, we're breaking chains. First chain, the chain of perfectionism. The chain of perfectionism. So I want you to release yourself from the idea that you have to get things just right. I know we've heard this too. This is probably can be under the cliches too, but I really wanted to stick here because you're asking how I know perfectionism is not helpful. It's literally, we're human beings. Like every professional in any room has made at least one mistake. Has anybody agree? Anybody? All of our professionals? Yep. At least one mistake. Yeah. So we're all human, right? But the worst part about it is that you'll look around at the other people doing stuff, and somehow they seem like they have it all together. Somehow they seem like, oh, they've gotten this opportunity. I really wanted that. Or their experiment worked out just right. Oh, why didn't mine work? Or what is it wrong? Something wrong with me? So you start comparing what you're seeing here and there, and you start building this arbitrary standard of what is success looks like. And you're now measuring yourself against this standard that nobody's actually met. No one person has actually met. So you start moving the goalposts, and you'll never get satisfied if you're always moving the goalposts. So what does the real world actually look like? We end up kind of picking this good thing here, picking this good thing here, and then we create this super ego of what this perfect person looks like, or perfect profession looks like, and comparing ourselves to this thing that doesn't actually exist, right? So enter imposter syndrome. It is defined as the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved, as a result of one's own effort or skills. And I consider it one of the biggest thieves of joy, one of the biggest killers of potential, because now when you're looking out and you're seeing these people do these things, and now, you feel like you don't belong in the room. So you're gonna find your first door out. So when I was in residency, I did a community practice residency connected to Loma Linda. Now, the thing about residency in pharmacy is that it's super competitive. So people that land it, it's kind of like, oh, you got a residency. Good job, good for you. The way I got my residency, only God, right? So God like hand wrapped it and gave it to me. And now I'm sitting in a room with other residents that went through the process of application and interview and actually secured a position. And they're also doing hospital stuff and I'm doing community stuff. So I felt like I didn't belong in the room at all. So I have had my own intimate, experiences with imposter syndrome. But here's the secret. They're actually not smarter than you. They're not smarter than you. Like, maybe they've had some cool opportunities. Maybe they've had other things going on. But let me tell you a secret. Who's trying to go to professional school? Got a couple? Some of them people cheat. A lot of them. Some of them people cheat. So when you look around and you see, oh, this group of people all got A's. This group of people all got A's. Just keep that in mind. People cheat and they lie. Okay? So they're not smarter than you. Don't let them deceive you. They're not. They truly are not. But in any case, how do we answer this question? How do we actually excel? The key thing is that remembering that we can't be perfect, it's actually kind of freeing. We can't be perfect, right? So what can we do? People can't be perfect, but systems can be optimized. So a system is like an ordered list of activities you do in a specific order every time that you can refine as you develop it, right? So you want to kind of create systems around what you know is going to give you an edge in your respective space, right? So and this applies to any field. So if you're like a project manager, how do you position yourself to start this new project? Or if you're a researcher, how do you set yourself up? How do you line up what your endpoints are? How do you select your variables, your dependents, all those things, right? How do you, even to how you prepare for your day in the morning. If you can kind of create habits and systems around these things that will give you an edge, that will help kind of propel you forward. And anything will give you an edge if you do it right. So what are the other benefits of system building? When you build a system, you take your brain out of decision-making mode and you put it into habit mode, right? So can anybody tell me, what is willpower? Any takers? Come on, students. Come on. Willpower. What's willpower? Determination. Okay, that's usually the first thing people think of when it comes to willpower, right? But the reality about willpower is that beyond determination, beyond like being disciplined, it's actually a finite resource. It's not. It's like your brain. When you use up a lot of willpower in the beginning of the day, you have a harder time making good decisions later, right? This is, we can go into the data on this another time. But when you build systems around what you do, you're taking yourself out of decision-making mode because you experience decision fatigue, where now you can't make good decisions effectively anymore. When you automate it, now you're not deciding, you're just doing. So your brain actually saves that willpower for when you actually need it, when you actually need to make a crucial decision. And that'll help you with your trajectory, your better health. With better health, you'll be able to do more things, be able to get farther, more wealth. And then when you have a better perceived control over what you're doing and how you're doing it, you end up having a little more satisfaction day to day. So chain number 2 that we're breaking, the illusion of stability. Now, we've all chosen some path in this school, right? At some point, somebody said, do this profession. You'll be set for life. How many people have heard that? You'll be set for life, right? Oh, they'll always need doctors. They'll always need pharmacists. They'll always need X, Y, Z. You'll always have a job, right? This city, you know, all these things that are perfect. Let me tell you something. I live in Houston. Houston has so many health centers. There's one road that has 7 hospitals that are basically immediately adjacent to each other. And let me tell you, do you know how many jobs I applied to get the one I have now? Out of more than 100 job applications, I got 4 interviews, 2 of which weren't even in Houston. And I have a strong CV. Like, I'm doing all this cool stuff. Like, what do you mean I can't get an interview? What do you mean? Like I always have a job? Like, I'm here applying to 100 jobs and only got responses from 4, and 2 of them I was considering moving for. Like, so there's nothing guaranteed. Like, everybody wants success to be that straight line, but it really more looks like that one. Like, there's ups and downs. Like, there's things you gotta climb over. And even when you're in a profession, like you're in this hospital, you're in this, like, how many people have been somewhere and you thought about leaving every few months? You know, like, it's even when things look good, things aren't always stable. So release yourself from, oh, if I make it to this place, that's gonna be it, I'll be set. Or when I make this objective, I'll be good, right? So to prevent getting stuck there, you always want to be open to trying new things. There's all these things that you can do. There's like you never know when a new skill is going to come in handy. For example, I actually did a software development boot camp, right? And I had done some other software stuff when I was in high school, whatever. So I've actually, made some software applications to help me at work. I've made little like automations that help me at work. So you never know what new thing that you can learn that will help you on that next step. And then it's always good to be a well-rounded individual, right? So, and if you ever come into a point in your profession where you need to switch gears, like you need to get out of this scenario to start almost like even like a career change, that kind of thing helps you because it'll make you more marketable having these auxiliary skills, because you never know when you need to alter your path. Like literally anything can happen, but it doesn't really matter what skills you gather, like something that will, just build you as a person. Ideally, you want to get something that's kind of aligned with where you want to go, but just say yes to trying new things. So I like to do these little capstones, kind of tie everything together. So capstone number 1, perfection is not the goal. What we want to do is automate what can give you an edge. Also, you're not an imposter. They're not smarter than you. And you want to try to future-proof yourself by learning continuously. All right, part 2, reaching equilibrium. I assume that everybody in here has passed through Ms. Hodnett's hands at one point or another, right? So everybody who's done that would have learned this Le Chatelier's principle, where basically when you have a system that's in equilibrium, if you change 1 or 2 factors, the equilibrium shifts, right? Equilibrium shifts. So I'm sharing kind of new knowledge with you, so we want to kind of shift to hold ourselves to a higher standard, or just shifting to new expectations for ourselves. So I want to kind of come a little closer and hold your hands and look in your eye when I tell you this. Perfectionism doesn't exist, but incompetence is not cute. It's not. Like, I know, like, we Oakwoodites, we come out of here with these great personalities, able to interact with these people at high levels because we've done it, right? We've presented, we've shook hands with people that are important, we've talked with them, we know how to run a room, right? But that charisma only gets you so far if you don't know what you're doing, right? So when you're at work, your job obviously wants you to be perfect, but we all know that's not a real thing. So what's the balance that we're trying to actually strike, right? We can't be perfect. I mean, we want to have charisma, but we can't be perfect, even though the job wants us to. So what are we doing? Now, we're enter with true competence. What is competence? The ability to do something successfully or efficiently, and efficiently, I'll say. And it's not perfection. Competence is not perfection, because you can show competence at any level you are, regardless of how good you are. And that's because competence has two forms, two modes: the ability to do and the ability to grow. So now, what do I mean by this, right? So the ability to grow, you can show that from day one, right? So you can show yourself as a competent individual right out the gate, because competence is more than just being good at doing stuff. It's actually being able to be the person that can actually learn from your mistakes and other people's mistakes. So how do we demonstrate competence? First thing, low-hanging fruit. Grab the low-hanging fruit. So when you master what's in your control, you'll automatically have an edge. So please come on time and always be prepared. That's in your control. You don't know everything. You won't know everything. But you can show up as a person who can learn everything. And you want to show that you try. So that looks like actually doing your due diligence. That looks like asking good questions, because there are bad questions. Questions that if you took 10 seconds to look at what you're asking about, then you would have gotten the answer. And then also take notes when possible. People will teach you stuff. Even if you're taking notes and notes don't make sense yet, they can see that you're trying. So they'll be willing to pour into you. And also show that you care. When you're fully engaged, first of all, you're putting yourself in a position where you can absorb what you're being taught. And then it looks like it, so then they're going to give you more, right? So that will kind of bolster you as you go through. And then that kind of follows your reputation after that. And reputation is everything when you're trying to advance professionally. And then you want to always build on what you've learned. So obviously progress over perfection, right? So if you can build bit by bit on what you have, what you've done, you'll get to the point where you're competent in what you can do, right? And when you get that confidence in what you can do, that opens you up to even more growth, right? Because if you know, oh, I've done this, then when it goes to the next step of learning something new, it's gonna, right, keep going. Capstone number 2, incompetence is not cute. If there's nothing else that I want you guys to take, it's that. Incompetence is not cute. Excel in what you can control, and then put progress over perfection every time. Now, part 3, arguably the most important part. Unlock your superpower. So what is your superpower? Everybody has something, some trait about them that gives them a competitive edge. For example, I think Miss Hodnett has a very strong competitive edge in the fact that she is tenacious. And when she sets her eye on something, she's going to find all the paths to make this thing happen or to improve the process. And mine is pattern recognition. So I can see patterns across all fields or a lot of different domains, and that lets me learn things easier, right? That's I'll say my superpower. And even a weakness can be a superpower depending on the context. Like, for example, which is stronger, industrial steel bucket or china, like a small, like a porcelain mug or porcelain cup? Which is stronger? Somebody shout it out. See, you're too smart for me now. Which is physically stronger? Which is physically stronger? Like, which one can take more abuse? The steel bucket, right? But which one are you taking to the tea party? Right? So strengths, it depends on the context, right? But what if our strengths are not enough? Like some things, we can do a lot with the traits that we have, but it's not always going to get you exactly to where you want to go. Enter favor. Favor is a single superpower that beats anything, and it comes from God. It's literally God's plot armor. Usually we don't deserve it, or else it wouldn't be called favor. So Psalm 121, it begs to be read because of kind of what is being said, right? I will lift up my eyes to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer my foot to be moved, and he that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. And the benefits of God's favor. Like, how many people have passed a class they shouldn't have passed? Yep. God opens doors that no man can shut. And this is a cliche too, but ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Like, because everything, God always works out everything for our ultimate good. And sometimes favor doesn't look like, getting exactly what you want when you ask for it. Sometimes it looks like being held somewhere for a little longer than you wanted to be there because you needed that information for the next step. And sometimes God blocks an opportunity that looks good to us. With our short vision, it looks good, but ultimately would not have helped us, or it would have been to our detriment. So how to harness God's favor. 3 tips here: obedience, devotion, and humility. Micah 6 verse 8, he has shown thee, O man, what is good, but what does the Lord require of thee but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God? How can God bless what is against his will? How can God lead you if you walking in the other direction? Everybody knows Jonah. Jonah didn't succeed at running away, right? God wants to bless us, so we have to be obedient. We have to line ourselves up with what God wants, because obedience will open the door that God is trying to create for us. Like, God knows everything. He knows what's going to be to your ultimate good. And then also, staying in devotion helps you hear God's voice. How can you obey what you can't hear? Right? And then when you enter every situation with humility, it lets you make it through each of these different trials and lets you internalize those lessons so that when it comes for that big assignment, you're actually ready for it. So I had seen kind of like a comic. If I remembered before today, I would have put it here. But it's this guy dragging a cross, right? He's dragging his cross, and he decides it's gotten too heavy. So he trims a little bit off the bottom. Further, drags it, a little bit heavy, cuts off the bottom. So now he's reached a precipice to cross over to the other side, but now his cross is too short. So he can't lay it over the gap to walk across. So obedience, devotion, and humility is one of the key factors in actually succeeding professionally. So brings us to our last point. Harness God's favor by being obedient, building a devotional life, and humbly letting him lead. That's really it. That's it. What I've found to be tried and true in my professional journey, what has helped me get to where I am today. And here's some books, some additional things on, being better as an individual, being better as a professional. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink basically forces you to not look at, the external factors that are making this hard. No, take ownership of this journey. Fully own the responsibility of getting to where you want to go. High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard, just different ways that he has observed high performers act in their respective fields and how we can apply those concepts. Then we have Atomic Habits by James Clear, basically small things that have long-term effects. We want to build those into your life. And then The One Thing by Gary Keller and James Papasan, which is basically finding that one thing at a given time that's going to be the most important, the highest value step in getting to the next place you want to go. And thanks for listening. So I don't know what time it is. If we have time for questions.